time. A very interesting concept. In fact, one of the most powerful laws that govern the universe, and that is time. So, you see, I'm going to be talking about how to predict the future. But before I go there, I need you to understand what time is. Right? You see, when I said future, a lot of people had this misconception of 5 years earlier or even 10 years earlier. But you see, your future is 1 minute away from now, and your past was 1 minute from now. The minute that we are in is the present. So I want you to keep that train of thought. Keep that train of thought. So now, this process of predicting the future is not some magic trick, some going to the smoke, rubbing anything in your eye. No, it's nothing of that. We're going to be using logical actions, planning, and intentional goal setting in order to predict the future. Yes, it's possible. Yes, it's very possible for you to predict the future you want to see or to make your predictions a reality. You see, in the Bible, there were people called the children of Issachar, and it says that they knew what Israel ought to be doing because they understood the time. Because they understood the time. So they knew what Israel ought to be doing. That means you will be able to know what you ought to be doing at each particular time. Stay with me. Remember, today's video will be exploring using planning and intentional action together with goal setting in order to create and make your predictions a reality. Now, what's planning? Planning is whatever you do to help you clarify your vision, to help you focus your effort and make intentional decisions that align with your goals. So whenever you pick up your pen, you pick up your paper, and you begin to write, you begin to ponder, right? How am I going to do this? For many of you that have been to various events like weddings, parties, before anything happens, they always plan. The Bible says, there anyone that wants to build a thing that doesn't sit down and first count the cost. That is planning. So the planning helps us a lot. You can say, oh, why am I planning? Like, what's important of planning? You see, planning reduces stress and anxiety. Trust me, if you've ever been in a birthday celebration, you will know how much ease it is if you're a part of the host and the organizer. How much ease it gives you when everything works according to plan. It also improves the productivity and effectiveness of everyone, you and those that are in your team. It helps you to make better decisions, and it also helps to solve problems. It improves your problem solving skills. Now, you see, there was this guy, right? His name is Thomas Edison, a very popular guy. He invented the light bulb and the likes. And there was one thing I took from Thomas Edison when I was reading his biography. And he said that he made the light bulb for 1,000 times. And while others were celebrating him, for making the milestone of building a light bulb and thereabout, you see, what made me love him was the fact that he said that every time he failed, he knew how not to do it again. So that means every time he failed, he always go back to the drawing board. Okay, what am I doing that is wrong? What do I need to stop doing? You see, that process that Thomas Edison was doing is planning, right? His persistence and planning, that's what ultimately gave him that groundbreaking invention. I'll also share a personal story about me in respect to planning. So, while I was in university, I took this skill, or you could say I took this habit of my dad. While I was growing up, he used to write out the things he wanted to do for the day, right? He would draw out, he would ask me, he would say, Joshua, come, help me write this out. And he would tell me, okay, go to this place, go to that place, go to this place. And I'll write it down. And then when he comes back in the evening, he's like, I'm like, oh, were you able to go to this person's place? He's like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. So now, when I was in secondary school, I got a small book. I used to call it my mini brain then. So every morning before I go to class, I'll itemize the thing that I want to do for that day. So it was a very interesting to the point that if you're not in my items to do, if you're not in the list of what I was going to do for that day, I will have to move you for another day. So this helped me a lot with time management. I think if you check my previous video when I talked about time, it helped me a lot in time management because now I was able to properly plan my day. My day was not without an aim. my day was not without an aim. I was not thinking of what am I going to be doing by 12 o'clock, what am I going to be doing by 2 o'clock, because of the fact that I had already predicted how I want my day to be. I had already put in the steps in order to make my day be the way I want it to be. Right? Stay with me. So now that we spoke about planning, we need to talk about setting goals and creating a vision. Setting goals and creating a vision. You see, goals gives you direction. Right? Goals give you direction. My dad always used to make this very interesting scenario. He says every time you're in a park, right? And there are a lot of cars going to different places. If you do not have a plan, or you did not have a location that you were going to, you're going to enter any of those cars, because of the fact that there is no direction, in quote. If you were supposed to go to Lagos, right, but because of you didn't really have so much direction, you just entered any of the cars, because they say if you want to go to Lagos, enter into that park. And when you go to that park, you just entered any car because they told you if you go to that park, you get to Lagos. But if you live in the house, you have a goal. I'm going to go by 6 o'clock. And what's the goal? Going to Lagos. And when you get to the park, right, you're going to ask this question: where is the Lagos bus? Because not all buses in that car, some of them might be going to Sokoto, some of them might be going to Ibadan, some of them might be going to Lokoja. So you need to have a goal in order to help yourself with direction. You see, goals also give you motivation. It gives you a sense of purpose. Trust me, if for those of you that work, when you have a deadline, right, and you put in all your effort, okay, I'm going to finish this before a deadline. I said I'm an educator, so one of the most interesting deadlines that I used to have is submitting exam questions. Right, that's the most interesting deadline that I used to have, submitting exam questions. So because I have this submitting exam questions, I put, okay, I need to write at least 10 questions every day before the deadline. I need to type this. So it gives me this sense of purpose that, I'm doing something really good. I'm putting in my effort for a reward, for a result. So goals give you a sense of purpose. Now, there are different ways to set goals, or there are different types of goals, right? There are short-term goals, there are long-term goals, right? So those are different types of goals, right? But whether you're making a short-term goal or a long-term goal, your goal has to be smart. I've spoken about smart in one of my previous videos, but I'll reiterate it. You see, a goal that is smart means something that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Your goals have to be specific. Like I said, the example of the deadline for the questions I'm supposed to submit. The goal is questions I'm supposed to submit. It's measurable by the amount of questions I need to submit. It's achievable because I can type. It's relevant because I need to submit questions in order for them not to deduct my money. And then it's time bound because I have a deadline. So your goals, whether short term or long term, have to be smart. Your goals have to be smart. So now, this is the most important part about creating a future you want, right? If you have not really, or if you are doing the other things that we spoke about earlier in the video, that's fine. But if you have not started doing this part, that's where it's all wrong, right? So stay with me. So now, after creating a plan, creating a goal, creating a vision, right, and everything, creating a vision, something that keeps you motivated and want to take action, something that is clear and concerned and allows the values and the likes. So after creating those things, there is something called taking action, right? Taking action. The Bible says that faith without work is dead. So planning without action is all paper and pen. It's all paper and pen. By the time you're done writing the paper, it will look really good. This pen, everything is looking nice. The paper, everything is looking really good. By the time you are done with all your drawings and everything, if you do not take action, they will remain as drawings. Some of the greatest inventions that we have today were done because of people took actions. If not, these things would have remained as ideas. They were done because people took actions. If not, they would have remained as ideas. So whatever plan you make, whatever goal you set, take actions. Right? Take actions. You see, actions is that bridge that bridges your goal, your vision, and your future, the future that you want to see. So after building a pillar, which is a goal, you're building the other pillar, which is a future. The bridge that connects the two pillars is action. So now, when you get a plan, right? Your action now is to break down those plans into smaller plans, in order for you to take it step by step, step by step. So you have to take intentional action for you to actually see your goals. You need to take intentional action for you to actually see your goals. So now, I said during my welcome back video for my very far hiatus, I said I was going to be telling you of how, in quotes, I predicted my future when I was 18 years old. You see, when I was 18 years old, I told you I had a mini brain. And I remember that day, it was my birthday, and I sat down with my mini brain. And it was my birthday, and I sat down with my mini brain, and I wrote the year I wanted to graduate from school. I wrote the year I wanted to do my NYSC. I wrote what I wanted to do my NYSC. I wrote what I wanted to do after my NYSC. I wrote when I wanted to do my masters. I wrote what I wanted to study for my masters. I wrote everything down. I wrote about like a 5-year plan for when I was 18 years old. And you see, at first, right, someone would have asked me like, why are you doing that? But you see, these things gave me a sense of direction. They gave me a sense of direction to the fact that when exactly I wrote I was going to graduate, that was when I graduated. What I wanted to graduate, that's what I graduated with. When I said I was going to do my NYSC, I did it at that point in time. What I wanted to do after my NYSC, I'm currently doing it. So it's the fact that whatever plan you set, if you will take out the opportunity to put in the action, your predictions, your plans, everything will come to reality. So yes, there you have it. That is the best logical way of predicting the future. You don't predict it, you create it. So now, I also want to use this opportunity to really appreciate the amount of subscribers I've had on this channel. It's not easy. You guys have really seen me through my journey. I know there was a time that I took a really long hiatus, and I really apologize for it. But these and many more will be coming soon. I thank God for the opportunity to really speak to this amount of people. It's really an opportunity from my own end. I do not take it for granted. And continue to support me. And please, after this video, do like, share, comment, and subscribe. So that's all for today, guys. We'll see you next week.